All right. Got the Lions rolling in here. You guys are not going to believe what I get to share with you guys today. Hello, Miss Patricia. And we got Jesse's in the house. Hey, good to see you, man. We today I went to the store and I was all timed out to get what I need to get back home and got there. And as soon as I pulling up there into Walmart, believe it or not, I ran into two different people, one coming in and one going out. And but they recognized me and they wanted to talk to me and find out what was going on, what they could do, and it just warms my heart. It's a very humbling thing, but it's just like wow, you know. So I ended up talking with them for probably about a half hour, and a few different other people are walking in and out of Walmart, kind of stopped to see what was going on, and got to hand out some of my new business cards. So that was kind of nice, and basically share with people why we can win this write-in election, this write-in candidacy. So uh, they were really excited, and I like seeing that with everybody. It's good to see people with hope, you know. So anyway, I finally got my grocery shopping done, and then apparently I was getting charged for not 5 limes but 53 limes, and I was like, wait a minute, that just seems way out of whack, and they figured out what was wrong, so that was good. But anyway, yes, yeah, so that's what we're dealing with. Let's see. All right. Hey, congratulations. LD Sun got his first touchdown, 56-0. Wow. That's a blowout there. Son of a gun. Well, awesome. It's always good to get that first one. There's no question about that. We got Mr. Larry from John Day in the house. Barry, it's good to see you. And Pat. And of course, Mr. Wilson from Myrtle Point is in the house. Okay. So, gosh, this is Lions Q&A Wednesday. So if you guys have questions, I want to hear about them. You know that the current 3 top leaders on the board for governor had their recent debate. We'll get into that a little bit. And in the meantime, let's get right down to it. So welcome, Lions. I'm your host and write-in candidate for Oregon Governor Paul Romero. And I'm betting you're not enjoying all the inflation or the accompanying recession, as more food producers burn to the ground and more farms are destroying crops. And think about the food producers, all these fires and what have you. We haven't heard a peep about any of the investigations into these fires. Think about it. None of them. Then we also have refineries being catching fire and being damaged. You know, I get the feeling that America is in its first World War being truly fought on our continent. Okay. And it's happening right here, right now, without us really being publicly invited to defend ourselves. After all, it's easier to destroy any strong group when they don't even know to defend themselves, right? Right. Well, and that's where China is here in Oregon and throughout America and actually throughout the world. So, as I mentioned last time, we were talking about the stock market drop. We're talking about over 20%, and it's still dropping. And that's since January. Okay. So investors, as I said, have lost like $7.6 trillion. All right. These are 401ks. These are just everybody, whether you have a mutual fund or actual stocks, bonds, you name it, everybody's losing money. Gold, silver, they're doing okay. That's where you put your money normally in times like these. But for anybody that really kind of knows and understands that, you should have done it already. And as I said, it is still not done. It is still falling, and we're still waiting for the dead cat triple bounce. But to what kind of recovery? You know, are they going to be pushing us into digital currency, right? That's what they're trying to do. By the way, that is part of the New World Order plan, is to push us into that. So, but think about all the businesses that won't be able to return or bounce back, right? At what point will conservative America wake up and really fight back? Well, it needs to happen now. Oregonians can take action on a number of fronts, notably in the governor's and U.S. Senate race. And if we don't, then we'll be looking at a recall of our next governor after 6 months, or waiting 4 more years to save what is left of Oregon. And I really don't like those prospects. The goal of the Rhino establishment here in Oregon, come the general election, was always to leave conservatives facing a choice between an insipid Republican and a leftist Democrat. At that point, we are predictably told that the only right thing for us to do is to elect the Republican. And I know a lot of you have heard this. I know a lot of you have heard, oh man, write-in candidates never win. It never works. It never works. Yeah, okay. Those people really don't understand what we're dealing with here in Oregon. They are talking out of their backsides, and they need to be remedy to this. Now, otherwise, we'll be voting for the lefty, and we wouldn't want that, right? So that's their logic. Now, in truth, this is a scam, and it has been very successful for far too long. The only prospect for change in our political landscape is to stop playing the same game by the same rules. Now, granted, they've been cheating the entire time, so that doesn't help us much. And all the people in place to keep cheating, they are scared to death we're going to catch any one of them at cheating, because they know that United, they may stand right now in shadow, but the fact is, as they start falling down, they're all individuals, and they know people like all of us. So there you go. Now, surprisingly, the Republican Party, as I mentioned earlier, did actually pay for, a mailed advertising piece for Alex Skarlatos. Now, I haven't seen anything paid for by the Republican Party for a candidate in a very long time. So that may be a positive sign for the Republican Party. And I won't go into the false, misleading, or missing elements to the information in that flyer, because this was generated by the Republican Party, not Alec himself, supposedly. But it's still nice to see the Republican Party is finally actually doing something with its money for candidates, instead of routing all the money to Solomon Yu's business in Terre Haute, Indiana, known as the Grassfire Strategic Planning and Management Group. Yeah. That's where most all money has been going for the last 20 plus years that he's been the national committeeman of the Republican Party. Yeah, I said it. So now let's go to something that I found just absolutely remarkable. And I put a link in the chat at the very beginning. So if you want to go click that little link up there and just take a look at it on another tab, you're going to really like this. So we got Mr. Ron's in the house. Good to see you. Oh, let me tell you what, that debate last night, that was just atrocious. God, I wish I could have been on that stage. But that's okay. Tomorrow, Rogue Splice is going to be giving me the interview questions so I can answer them, same time limits, all that good stuff. And he's going to splice that into that debate. So once that comes out, I ask that everybody make an effort to spread it far and wide and show people this is the right guy. These people are not. And they may be on the ballot, but that doesn't mean that's the right person to vote for. We just have to keep beating that drum. At some point, we'll get the attention of the right people. I've already sent a special email in to Steve Bannon in the War Room, and I'm looking forward to their call, actually. Let's see. Hey, Tanya, good to see you. Hello from Trail, huh? Okay. Oh, look at this. This is awesome. LD said her parents are setting up Paul Romero sign in Albany. They want more because their neighbors want one. Woohoo! Guys, like I said, this can be done. It can. It takes everybody, but it can be done. Hey, Jackie from Prineville, Jackie Johnson. And White House taking care of business. Patricia, I hope so. I want to see a whole lot more than I've seen. I want real action. We've been listening to it for a long time. Yeah. It's time to put up or shut up kind of thing. Yes. Hey, Lorelei, good. Glad you made it. Yeah, I was a little late due to my little store venture where I ended up talking to a lot of people. We've got Miss Jennifer in the house from Tillamook. Good to see you. And oh, Shady Cove. Oh, wow. Shady Cove. What county is that in, Tanya? We have people in Coos County, in Lake County, and Deschutes County that they are actually getting signs made themselves, and they're putting them out there in their area, which is greatly appreciated. It only means we have 33 other counties to cover. The meager funds that we have coming into the campaign are literally covering our website monthly deal, business cards, and things like that. And then all the other things I print and for handouts and what have you. Hey, Paul, good to see you. And we got Miss Teresa's in the house. She couldn't watch all their debate because it was bugging her. That's Dina. She'll probably show up here maybe. Hey, James. Mr. Kimball's in the house. And yeah, you know what? I find it very difficult to watch them because just listening to them, I'm like, these people are lying to people right there on stage. Something else. It's remarkable. Okay, so that link I sent at the very beginning of the chat, if you guys take a look at that, it's really pretty amazing. Because now I told you that Betsy Johnson used to be a director for the Portland branch of the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. Okay, that's right. Now, what I found was interesting. I just got this wild hair, and I thought, you know what? Let me go look at this Portland branch board of directors, see who's there now, right? So here's who I find. I find Ann Kubish, the chair of the board, president and chief executive officer for the Ford Family Foundation here in Roseburg, Oregon. Why would this person be on the board of directors for the Federal Reserve Bank? Anybody? I'm really curious. Then we have Gail Castillo, president of Cascade Centers Incorporated in Portland, Oregon. Another interesting one. Then we have Graciela Gomez Cowger, chief executive officer, Schwab, Williamson, and Wyatt, Portland, Oregon. Obviously a bunch of attorneys. Interesting, huh? Oh, but it gets better. Then we got Stacy Dodson, market president, Portland and Southwest Washington U.S. Bank, Portland, Oregon. Why would the market president of the U.S. Bank be on the board of directors for the Federal Reserve Bank? Anybody? Okay. And then also the U.S. Bank, if you've been using U.S. Bank, let me tell you what, they are messed up. They are in dire need of better people to do their stuff because they're really screwing things up for a number of people that I've been talking to lately. And then we have Maria Pope, president and chief executive officer, Portland General Electric Company, Portland, Oregon. Why would General Electric, the president and CEO of Portland General Electric, be on the board of directors for the Federal Reserve Bank appointed by the San Francisco Board of Directors? Anybody? Anybody know? This doesn't make any sense to me. And then we have Cheryl Nestor Wolf, president and CEO of Salem Health Hospital and Clinics. Guys, there's 6 rats right there, broad daylight. And say, I'm sure that nobody ever really stopped to think, Federal Reserve Bank. I mean, well, that's just the Federal Reserve Bank over somewhere on the East Coast somewhere, right? No, it's everywhere. And they have their directors, and they have their main branch of San Francisco, but there's the Portland branch. This is intriguing. I mean, how do I get on that board of directors? Because then maybe I could do like what Betsy Johnson did. Get on the board of directors, do that thing for a while, right? And then end up financing my own aviation business. Yeah, there we go. Must be part of that good old boys club, right? Guys, I just was stunned. I was dying to share that with you as soon as I ran into it, but I'm thinking, man, there's just all kinds of wrong here. So yeah. Let's see. So what else we got? I'm gonna go back here. Oh, Barry made a comment, said their eyes tell me all I need to know. They are snakes. Yeah, definitely can't trust them. You know, well, that's another thing. Holding a press conference with the media around here, they don't really care about anything that everybody needs to know. Not really. I mean, it is tough. Think about it. Bill Meyer, right? The Rob Taylor report, Lars Larson. Now, traditionally, we've trusted them to report real, legitimate stuff and good stuff and to get it out for everybody, right? Lately, I can't get arrested. Okay. They don't return calls. They don't return emails. Some aren't even going to bother talking with it. Rob Taylor report, that thing is done. He's lost all credibility, not just with me, but with a whole lot of people. That's his making, not mine. As for Lars Larson, people are finally figuring out that he's just a showman. He makes his money doing what he does, and that's it. He's all of like this tall, right? Yeah, he knows a lot of stuff, but trust me in this, he's no conservative. Okay, let's see. Yeah, well, Angela Peterson, the conservative that actually has a chance of winning this November. The truth is, you don't have any conservatives. You don't. Not for the governor's race. You look at their actual histories, how they've actually voted while they've been in office in the legislature. This is not a personal thing. This is a performance thing. None of them are conservative. Okay? So, to answer your question, there is no real conservative on the ballot. There is one you can write in. And yes, we can win that way. And I'll get into those numbers here shortly. So I love this. Here's a comment here from James. Not only do they lie, what they say they want to do, and most of Oregon don't want. It's amazing. They keep focusing on things. For example, reduce inflation. Can your governor or the legislature in Oregon reduce inflation? No, they can't. See, they don't print money and they don't spend the big money of the big federal government. So no, they can't. What they can do is reduce your taxes. But all three of those candidates, not conservative, all three of them have stated they're going to leave the taxes as they are, which is also a lie. Your taxes are going up if any one of them ends up in the governor's house. Okay? That's the truth. That's the reality. And we've covered a lot of these things, and we'll get into it. You guys can bring the questions up. Donis, first of all, doesn't think. Donis doesn't have enough brain cells in her head to do much of anything. Ask her about any one issue and see what response you get about that, what her great ideas are to fix it or to do it. She has none. What she tells you is, well, once I get into office, I'm going to get a bunch of Republicans in there to help me figure out what the problems are and then what the solutions are, and then we're going to fix everything. That's her response. If that's something you want, whoa, that's even probably worse than the other three because that one doesn't have a clue and will just be somebody else's puppet at the best. And as for me, listen, I'm trying to save Oregon, and I've been fighting this fight for over 2 years. I've been working hard at this. I know the issues. I know the solutions. I've worked hard to know this stuff, to be able to convey it to all of you. And I think, Angela, this is the first time you've been here. I don't recall you before. But the simple fact is that without real solutions going into the fight, how do you trust the people that have been in the legislature who have not fixed squat and have actually contributed to the problems that we all get to experience? Do you really think they're going to just change overnight and all of a sudden become the great, awesome person they're trying to portray on TV? Come on, you're not that naive. Truly, you're not. Let's see. I got to go click that off. Okay, and then let's see. Ron had a comment here. It looks pretty good. Let's see. I was answering the questions on the debate last night and your dialogue and ideas. You won. See, what the guys, and I tell you this, is that when I convey my answers to all of you about any given issue, I want you to understand the issue and the solution. And if you actually understand that, then you yourself get to answer those questions. Okay? If somebody says, well, what's he say about this? Oh, let me tell you what he's going to do about water. Let me tell you what the real problems are. And here's how we can address every one of them. You know, man, you should run for governor. Well, maybe not me, but I know the guy that came up with all this stuff that should. You should take the time to write him in. There you go. So, but thank you, Ron. I appreciate that. And for those who want to donate to the campaign, there's two ways you can do it. Number one, you can actually mail in a check. Every penny of that goes right into the account for the campaign. We don't spend money. The only thing we spend money on right now has been business cards, some poker chips, not very many. We kind of hold off on that, but a lot of printing, ink, paper, that type of stuff. And then also signs. Right now, we're trying to get some bigger funds in so we get some bigger signs put up and down I-5 and east of the Cascades. So anybody that's willing to help with that, by all means. We run a very lean and tight campaign. We always have. You know, there's some people that claim, well, you didn't do this, and you probably just took out money yourself. Give me a break. I put more time and more money into this campaign myself than what's come in. $15,000, $16,000 is not very much, guys. And you're not going to Vegas on that. No. Now, talk to the people that are spending millions of dollars. Yeah, why don't you talk to them and then get back with me? But like I said, you can go onto the website and there's a way for you to make a donation there. But if you want to stick it in the mail real quick, it only takes a couple days. Make it out to Paul Romero for governor. And that address, we'll put it right up here. Northeast Walnut Street, number 177. And that's Roseburg, Oregon 97470. Payable to Paul Romero for governor. So there you go. Okay, so let me go back up here. Somebody else had some comments. I want to address them. Let's see. Heard the arguments. So Angela Peterson says she's heard the arguments, and I am wrong. Well, first of all, you've heard the arguments. I am wrong. No, I'm not. I spent a lot of time over the last 2 years, actually the last 4 or 5 years, watching the voter makeup, the voter blocks, and how voters have been moving around and what's been going on. I also talk to a lot of voters. I listen to them, and they tell me a whole lot of information. Okay, so Angela, you don't want to be here, go away. We don't need you here. But if you want to educate yourself and actually learn something, because you have obviously not offered squat in regards to this. Let's see. There's different committees for Republicans. Yeah. There's more of the story with each of these false accusations when accused of not blocking. Okay. Angela, just let you guys know, Angela Peterson is what we call a Drazen troll. Now, Drazen, who's apparently not smart enough to actually read the bills that she signs off on to figure out or understand about the tampons in the boys' bathroom. That's her excuse. She just didn't understand it, didn't realize that. Okay, how about this? Christine Drazen, along with Betsy Johnson and Tina Kotek, all support the Oregon-China Council that doesn't benefit Oregonians at all, right? Okay, and by the way, the Oregon-China Council fully supports and endorses Agenda 2030 and its 17 goals. And if you support that, Angela, you need to head out, okay? Because as far as I'm concerned, that pretty much makes you a communist. Definitely makes you a traitor to this state and this country. You support that and you support a candidate that supports that? Sorry, I do not support Agenda 2030 or Agenda 21 or any of that garbage. So stick that in your pipe and smoke it. False accusations. No, we got a laundry list of absolute factual information on Drazen, and it's been public. It's all over the place. And it's not just me pointing it out, because Kotek and Johnson have to do it too. Although the hard part is when they got to point out the other thing. So ask Drazen, Angela, since apparently you must be pretty tight, right? Ask her why she made the statement she's not going to change the tax, the way the taxes are in the state once she becomes governor. She won't do that. Yet she must know about the universal health care for every Oregonian to eliminate all private insurance completely, and then potentially taking up to 15% of people's income as a tax, an additional tax. Ask her about that. You know, the super secret meetings that they've been having? Yeah. Tell me she doesn't know about that. If she doesn't know about that, then she's a bigger moron than I thought she was. Okay? Seriously. Naive to beat the band, if that's the case. But I'm telling you now, she knows. She knows all about it. She's just not talking about it. And neither is Betsy Johnson, and neither is Tina Kotek. All three of them are guilty here. So, yeah, take that back to your leader there. And as far as walkouts, vote against this bill, but not participate in the walkout. You know, let me tell you something else, Angela, that apparently Christine Drazan never learned. Never had anybody to tell her. See, the only way you get chips in the game, especially when you're outnumbered, is you have to get all the dirt on all the opposition. I mean, all the dirt. I'm talking about the dirt that as soon as you let them know you have it, they run screaming into the night and you never see them again. And don't think for a second, most of those Democrats aren't fully engaged in these things. Okay? You want to play in that game? You better get your chips together. You better line them up. You got to put those chips in your chip gun, and you got to play them. And you got to do it publicly. And you corner them. And you expose them. You don't make them famous. You make them infamous. That's what you do. So, do you really think Drazan's prepared to go play this game? No. She doesn't even understand it. She's going to be run over by a truck when this happens. HB 2928 restricts police from using methods. Yeah, and by the way, yes, she all those things, she actually voted in favor. She basically was trying to appease the woke crowd. Apparently, she's also afraid of them. See, I'm not afraid of them. Kotek, she's part of them. Betsy, I think Betsy's a little afraid of them. And Christine, definitely afraid of them. So that's what happens. See, the woke element, it's all about scaring people into doing what they want them to do. And that's where she failed, right? So try again. No. It's necessarily a bad thing in my opinion. Your opinion at this point is worthless. Stripping victims of their rights. Yeah, let me tell you what. And by the way, it's not just Christine that voted for this stuff. You know, Kotek and Johnson also voted for these things too. All three of them are literally Kate Brown 2.0. Oh my God. And we can't afford Kate Brown 2.0. Oh my God, in any capacity. Not Kotek, not Johnson, and definitely not Drazan. Okay? No, not going to fly. And as far as her success of being a leader of the Republicans in the legislature, really? Come on. What did you accomplish? Did you make sure we had a Republican candidate, running in every single legislative race? No. There's only one group I know that was actually making that effort a couple cycles back and continue to work on it. And that was the Resurgent Republicans. And guess what? There was two founders to the Resurgent Republicans. Myself and Dan Donahue. Ah, yeah, I did know that one, did you? Anyway, the point was this. The Republican Party itself, which you should be fully engaged in, wasn't making any effort to fill out the dance card and make sure they get a candidate to run for every one of these races. You are guilty. What did you do to make that happen? To cover our bases, cover the Republican bases? You didn't. You're too caught up in whatever it is you're doing. That doesn't work. That's not what a leader does. I used to say, lead, follow, or get out of the way. Now it's get out of the way, follow if you can keep up, and lead if you can take me. And right now, the real issues of Oregonians, the things I've been listening to and talking to people for 2 years, what has Drazan done? No, nothing. Zero. She's gone along to get along. I know what she's done. And just because you want to come up here and throw all this stuff, sorry. No, ain't going to work. Heck, even the Willamette Weeks pointed out some ugly things about it too. And once that happens, granted, you have to take it with a grain of salt, but there's truth in there. Enable voter fraud by voting for either those. HB simply requires that a yearly report be sent to the state secretary. I got news for you. We've had a fraudulent election, and she won't even be willing to step up and stand on the ground that the 2020 election here in Oregon was fraudulent. Okay? We don't think this. We know this. All right? Why? Go look at the real experts. The ones Judicial Watch alone found a whole lot of dead and moved people on our voter rolls. We actually have a program we pay money for to keep our voter rolls clean and good to go, but they don't remove people. Right. And yet, what has Drazen done about that? Heck, I had a U.S. Senate race where I was leading, I was good to go. And then, of course, Alex Skalatos and his campaign manager, Dominic Stevenson, decided to push and try to get Jo Rae Perkins out of his CD4 race or CD5 race at the time. Okay. And she did. She finally left on the promise of all this money for her campaign. Did that money come through? No. But what was crazy is that in that race, there was her, came in way late, myself. We're doing great phone calls, people. We got a huge campaign working. And then two nobodies. One person wasn't even in the voter's guide, didn't campaign, no staff, no nothing. And another guy, high functioning Asperger's, he steps in the arena. His biggest deal was he wanted to stop people from using food stamps to buy soda pop. That's what he was going to do with the next U.S. senator. Okay, yeah. So anyway, in the end, I'm expecting between 55 and 65% of the vote. Okay, and we end up not hitting that 60 mark in the middle, but half of that, just over 30%. It was amazing. It was like, what the heck just happened? And then we had to go look at the guy that wasn't even in the voter's guide. He got like 10% in every county in the state with zero campaigning, with zero signs, with zero anything. Right then we knew, okay. And then the next guy, the one that his voter's guide picture looked like a mugshot, he ends up with 13% in all these counties. Well, that's odd. Wait a minute, what's going on? So we learned later on was that literally half of my votes were split three ways between the other three candidates. That's how that went down. That's a primary. So that's something else we didn't realize. We were thinking they were just cheating in the general election. No, they cheat in the primaries too. And I have to wonder, Christine Drazen, how much cheating did they do to make sure you won? Now, you probably weren't in on it, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. Because you can tell. Here's another thing. Of all the Republicans that are registered, Drazen are the ones that voted in the primary. Drazen gets what? Less than 23% of the vote. That means there's like 77% of the voters that voted in the last primary that don't want her. You get it, Angela? They know her. They don't like her. And the thing about Republicans is this. We won't just go, well, I'm going to vote for the Democrat because I don't like her. No, they don't do that. They just don't vote. Yeah. So that's what you've created. And then you're trying to guilt people into just voting for the Republican because she's the best choice. No, she's as bad as the rest. How can we actually trust her to do something that she's not been doing since she's been in office? Please explain that to me. I would love to know. Oh, yeah. Return posted. Let me tell you something. Here's the way we fix our elections, Angela. We go back to the precincts. We go back to going in with your ID, registering, signing the book, getting your ballot, running your ballot, turning it in, getting your little tear off. And when it goes into the system, you should be able to go and check to see if yours, there's mine right there. Yep, and that's how I voted. Done. Good to go. Instead, they're still supporting a system, and even our Attorney General and our Secretary of State have now publicly admitted that, yes, they can be connected to the internet. Yeah, there's not really any passwords. It's really easy to compromise Oregon elections, and it's been that way since we've had these mail-in and these ballot tallying machines. Okay? Christine doesn't talk about that. Why? She's part of the problem. That's it. So, man, Angela, I don't know who you are, but you're not going to like this day. Yeah, okay, there's another thing. After much bantering back and forth, Drazen compromised with Democrats on this HB 2623 to temporarily 5 years ban fracking rather than permanently. Were we producing oil and gas here in Oregon? By the way, we do have oil and gas in Eastern Oregon. Could we be producing that stuff? Yes. Here's the best part, Angela. infrastructure, right? In Alaska, Alaskans benefit at the end of the year getting a nice check based on the profits from the Alaska pipeline, right? Pretty good deal. Why can't we do that for Oregon? The thing about oil producing, gas production, all that stuff is so clean. If you ever go to one of those actual sites, you're going to be blown away at just how clean it is. There's no oil all over the ground or chemicals, nothing like that. No, not at all. How do I know this? Because I've been in the oil field. I've been in the oil industry down in Louisiana. Yeah. So I know something about what I speak. You do not. And as far as banning fracking, give me a break. How to make Oregon less energy independent. That's what she voted for. And if she can't think and see that far ahead, she's going to be a crappy governor. All right. See, it's not just about looking ahead to the 4 years you're going to be in office. It's also about what's going to be beyond that, because you're responsible for that in a way. You can set it up the right way or screw it up the wrong way, right? Yeah. Well, that's what she did. Compromising with the Democrats. Yeah. And what did they promise her out of that deal? And what did she actually get? Goose egg. They said, oh, yeah, Kristen, yeah, go with us. Help us out with this. Yeah, it'll be good. Yeah. And we'll take care of this and we'll do this for you. Yeah. And then what do? They don't. That's right. And she's naive enough to buy into it. So no, she's not a good leader. She's not a good representative. And she's not even someone we can really trust in the legislature. We need people to go in the legislature and freaking draw a line in the sand, draw it behind them, and then get them back across it. These are the people we need in office. People that actually know and understand this stuff, are smart enough to go through all the garbage, clean it up, figure it out, and explain it in simple English to everybody so they can all understand. Christine doesn't do this. Christine's not a leader. Led the cap and trade walkout. Ooh, yeah. And where are we with that right now? Where was the success really in that? Short term? Long term? Let's see. The new Green Deal, of course, walked out. So what do? They take the new Green Deal, they break it up into 4 parts, right? And then they run it back through the goose. Came flying out. Yeah. Ask her about that. Was she not smart enough to figure that out? Yeah. So, Oregon has the new Green Deal now. Yeah. Thanks, Republicans in office. You guys took your money, you took your $1 million, your $2 million, your $4 million, whatever it was promised. Yeah, for your districts. Yeah. Yeah, you're guilty of selling out Oregonians left and right. Yeah, we know. We understand. Yeah, Oregonians want change. Yeah, thank you, Tanya. She's talking about the debate. I never heard any plans. All I heard was Oregonians want change. I'm blown away. I will be praying for this fight and that you win. We need the truth. So here's the thing, guys, is that, remember, hope and change, hope and change. Yeah, that's it. We need hope and change. Yeah, what did that get us? Gosh, 8 years of hell. I have a really good friend. I actually got him through Spook School back in the day. And he was actually asked to be the communications director of the White House under Obama. You know what he told him? No. We knew who he was. Yeah. Told him no and retired. Problem was, he's so good at what he does, they convinced him to stay in and he could have any job he wanted. And he got any job he wanted. And it was back in his home state in the middle of America. And it's a top job and it's pretty kick-ass. And by the way, this is a gentleman that I know I can convince to come to Oregon to help us with our computer infrastructure and get the cost down and get the security, everything else up and the performance up. And the kicker is he'll do it for a pay cut. That's right. That's how awesome that guy is. So these are some of the other things that I get to bring to the table. It's not just about what you can do. It's what you can inspire. It's what you know, what you can understand. And it's the right people to bring in to fix the problems. The people that can't be bought. The people that are not here for their own agenda. They're here for the people's agenda. And that's what I'm pushing. So, but like I said, all you're going to hear out of all three of them is, oh, yeah, Oregonians want change. Yeah, dang right we want change. You guys have screwed it up so bad. Betsy Johnson's been screwing up for 20 years. Come on. She's one of the top people in the legislature. And you're going to tell me she has no pull? She has no knowledge or no leverage to apply to expose people or compromise them in such a way that they'll do what the right thing is? No. And will Kotek do that stuff? Of course not. Heck, she's been job shadowing Kate Brown for the last couple months. Ah, yeah. How about that? Is Christine getting to job shadow? I doubt it. And I definitely know I won't get to. Let's see. Yeah, they're not going to tell you any plans because all the plans are already set. They are just letting the boat steer itself. See, they're beholden to an awful lot of people, guys. And I'm not. I'm only beholden to the voter, the people that write me in and the people that don't. That's it. Electorate that has created the hostile environment Christine and other Republicans have had to work as a major minority. Listen, Angela, I understand this minority problem, but here's the thing. Solomon Yu, this guy needs to be shot out of the nearest airlock without a spacesuit, okay? Truly. He has decimated the Republican Party. He has been a key component of why we get stuck with all the rhinos. And Christine Drazan, I'm sorry, she's not just a rhino. She's a super rhino. And we can recognize that by her actual actions. So stop trying to sell us on that. It ain't going to work. Okay? So here's the thing. With being the minority, if they're not going to be willing to give you the time of day and they're just going to ignore you the entire time, then you have plenty of time to do something. Oh yeah. It's called information. It's called digging deep. It's called talking to interns and everybody that's involved throughout that building. Finding the dirt. Find out what they're doing wrong. How many people have hit a car and tried to get away with it because they were a legislator? Betsy Johnson. Yeah. Okay. These people are all elites, and that includes Drazan. They think because they're there, they're part of the good old boys club, or in this case, the good old girls club. No, we're not going to let you use that as your excuse. And to me, it is fundamentally the Republicans' fault, and that includes Christine Drazan, because at some point we had 17 legislative races that went unopposed to the Democrats. Unopposed. You guys don't have a platform that even speaks to the people. You don't offer anything that speaks to the people because you know why? You don't talk to them. You do not listen to them. You only speak at them. And you think they're just going to take what you have to say, hook, line, and sinker. Man, you guys are dumber than a bag of rocks. Really. It's not enough to go and talk with people. You have to listen to them. You got 2 ears, one mouth. Granted, in this situation, I got to use more mouth than ears, but I'm going to answer everybody's questions. But the simple fact is this, is that once you listen to people and you find the real root of the problem, the heart of the problem, not all the symptoms, you got to push past that. You get to the heart of the problem, you address that, and you watch the symptoms go away. See, that's what real leadership does. That's what real project management does. These politicians, Christine Drazan, Betsy Johnson, Tina Kotek, they don't have those skills. They are not leaders. They're attempting to be managers, but they are not leaders. There's a difference. And there's a time to do one or do the other, sometimes both. But you have to have that ability to do that. Me, I have that ability. But that's been through training and education and life experience. What do they have in that regard? Right? What have they really truly done and built on their own? So I would love to go back to Betsy Johnson's financial history and how she funded all her big aviation business. I'm telling you now, I'd like to know what part of that entailed involvement of the Federal Reserve. And we all know what that's about, right? Yeah. So, but okay, and see, here's another thing. It's the fault of our electorate that has created the hostile environment, Christine and other Republicans. Okay, first of all, the electorate. That can be two things. It can be the people in the legislature electorate, or it could be all of us, the electorate. See, we as voters have to be inspired and motivated by the people that are trying to be leaders. We're trying to see them as a leader. We want leaders, right? We all do. Shoot, I wasn't ever going to run for office, ever. I had no intention or goal or ambition to do it. And then one of my mentors, they said, we need someone to run against this guy. We need someone who will step up and somebody who wasn't a career politician. And I'm thinking, yeah, we need someone like that. Yeah. And then one of my mentors pulled me outside and said, PJ, you should run. I'm like, no, I'm not a politician. He said, that's why you should run. You know the issues, you know the people, you know the ways to fix these things. You're a project manager. It's how you think. It's what you do. You understand information and why it's important. And it has a tendency to gravitate to me, which is kind of a bonus. But these are the things that are really needed. And if you can't relate to the people, you have no business representing them. What I'm saying to Christine Drazan right now and Betsy Johnson, Tina Kotek, you cannot relate to the people. You've not been through the fiery hoops of life that all of them are going through right now. That is just a simple fact. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, see, and oh, something else, Angela, and you might want to share this with whoever you're working for. There's this little group called the non-affiliated voter, and about 34.4% of the voting bloc are non-affiliated voters. Now, what comprises that non-affiliated group? First is there's Democrats in there, actually quite a few of them. And those Democrats are fed up with the socialist ideology that's being adopted and thrust on them without their permission. And so they said, you know what? Normally we are very loyal Democrats, but man, this is so bad, we're out. And there's still holdbacks. There's still diehard Democrats, JFK conservative Democrats. They're holding on for dear life, but man, they are ready to jump ship. The Democrat Party's been, yeah, that's where they're going. Republicans are even further down on the same trend line. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, this little deal right here explains it all and why not only can we win with the write-in candidacy. So then there's the Republican non-affiliated voters. Now, why would Republicans, conservatives, leave the Republican Party? Just baffles the mind here, right? No, it doesn't. Because see, under Solomon Yu's reign of over 20 years, by the way, we keep getting shoved down our throats these rhino Republicans. We need to move more to the left in order to get more votes so we can win. That's been the logic. That's what you've been told for the last 20 plus years. Yeah. And you bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. Ugh, yeah. Well, see, those Republicans, they don't vote for rhinos. And they definitely don't vote for super rhinos like Christine Drazan. And they definitely won't vote for Democrats. Not even Betsy Johnson, who's pretending to be a non-affiliated / independent candidate. Okay? They're not stupid. And you insult their intelligence by what you're saying. You understand? So that's the reality of the voting block. So what am I expecting? How do I win this? Well, first thing is there's about 77% of the Republicans that do not want to vote for Christine Drazan. Yep. Guess what? All of you can write in Paul Romero for governor. Make sure you fill in that oval. Then we have the NAV voters out there, both Democrats and Republicans. Because see, the two Democrats they have an option for, Johnson and Drazan, fall out of what they want to support. There's another 34.4% potential of voting block. You get it? Oh, man, let's see. Okay, so Republican voting block is about 24% of the total electorate. Okay, 34% NAV that don't want nothing to do with the Democrat or the rhino Republican. And you really think there is no chance for me as a write-in gubernatorial candidate? Well, Angela, I don't know who's doing the metrics over there, but they're lying to you. They're not looking at the truth. I know I am. So, yeah. You ought to take that back. Matter of fact, send me your email address. I'll send you the information. Yeah, there you go. Let him go take one look at that and go, how does this guy come up with this? How does this guy know? Oh, let's see. He used to be a code breaker and an encryption, decryption communications expert, and an analyst. Yeah, and then in the course of life, become a bit of a strategist too. Um, just kind of where I found myself. But the nice thing about me is I like to use all my stuff for good, exposing the truth, getting the truth out there, explaining complicated things in a simple way so everybody can understand them and know what sheet of music we're on, right? Got to be on the same sheet. And what I'm finding is that too many politicians, they love using the big flowery words and things that nobody really understands. Because see, they don't want you to understand. Because if you understand, then you get to call them on their BS, right? And that's what happens. So until Christine Drazan actually was a true leader and rebuilt the Republican Party, then come talk to me. But until that happens, no. Sorry. And she can't do it. She's the nice girl next door marshmallow. And also, I'm going to get back to this again. The Chinese Communist Party has been buying up farms, ranches, rental properties, water rights in Southern Oregon. Is this in support of the Oregon-China Council to benefit China's takeover of Oregon? What about the $250 million of PERS money we have currently with China? You know, the Chinese Communist Party and all their little elements. You're okay with that, Angela? Really? So are you going to sell us out to China as well? You understand that fundamentally is treason, right? You know, I spent 10 years in the United States Navy. Active duty, honorable, decorated service. And I'd do it again. And don't make me. Because here in Oregon, if push came to shove in regards to the Chinese Communist Party coming to this state, we are not taking any prisoners. And we are not going to give up. And we'll be flying that black American flag. Yeah, that's how that's going to go. Let's see. There's never any language in the initial bill that indicated there would ever be an option for a feminine hygiene proxy. You know, Angela, again, we're back to that naive word. I like to think somebody like Christine Drazan wouldn't still be that naive, especially when dealing with Democrats. Do you really think you can trust the Democrats in the legislature, especially the main ones that run the show? The answer is no. But why do you still make excuses? Stop. Let's see. Yeah, I've done. Yeah, thank you, Wilson. I've done a lot of research. I've done a lot of homework. I am not pulling the stuff out of. These are not opinions. They are analysis of a lot of data and a lot of information. And the facts are the facts. What pisses me off is when Drazan, Johnson, and Kotek are lying on their commercials. I mean, really. If I didn't know better, I was like, man, I should vote for all three of them. And I know that's just not the truth. So it's impressive to watch them all lie, but they're all covering from themselves, each other as well. They're not as hard on each other as they should be. They should be all over each other about the Oregon-China Council and the Agenda 2030. None of them talk about it. None of them address it to the others. Why? Because they are all guilty. Okay? I talk about it. You want to know why? Because I don't support it and I'm not guilty. I'm actually an American citizen. I'm an American veteran. I have fought and gone into harm's way for this country. And I'll do it again. That's right. I don't know if anyone's seen Wyden's commercial. He claims one of his things he's trying to get into law. It's a first-time homebuyer grant program. Okay, guys, there's no such thing as free money. It comes from somewhere, okay? No one knows about it. It's been in the works since 2010. Already done. He's a liar. Yeah, see? Oh, man, Lisa, thank you for that information. Again, it's like their way of selling themselves, trying to get the public to just buy their BS. Okay, people have very short memories on what the performance is of their representatives, and Wyden is no exception. The man looks like the crypt keeper, for crying out loud. He was supposed to retire, but apparently they didn't want him to because they didn't want to lose his name recognition, so he could just sweep the election. And by the way, there's also a write-in candidate for U.S. Senate. His name is Michael Stetler. He's also a U.S. Navy veteran. Used to be a surfer in California. Really good guy. Knows his stuff. And he'd be a huge asset in the U.S. Senate representing Oregon. So if you get a chance, look him up. He does have a website. Steady for Oregon. I think it's Steady for Senate.org, no, .us. Steady for Senate.us. And look him up. This guy knows his stuff, and he knows what needs to be done. I completely trust him, and so can you. No, Angela, I don't call you a communist because you disagree with me. You can disagree with me all you want. I'm disagreeing with you. Doesn't make me a communist. But see, I know where I stand. I'm an actual veteran. I'm an actual patriot. I've actually gone in defense and fighting for this country. Yeah. Crossed the line to death off of Libya. Been off of Lebanon. Been in the Persian Gulf. Yeah. Had friends die. Watched people crash. Watched people, good friends of mine, die. Yeah. Wasn't fun. And I deal with that every day. So you want to know where my intensity comes from? It comes from knowing there's people out there that are truly ignorant of an awful lot that they need to know. And I'm willing to educate you on it, to get it into your head so you understand it and know it. I don't know how old you are, Angelina, or Angela, not Angelina, Angela. But here's the thing. Have you ever read my contract with Oregon? My current copy? Matter of fact, you know what I have right here? Oh, wow, what is this? Oh, it's addressed to Christine Drazen. Yeah, oh, that's right. Hey, it's even got a stamp on it. Guess it needs going to the mail tomorrow. It's a copy of my contract with Oregon. If she wants to be a real good governor, do all that. Heck, do half of it. You know, I've been talking about my contract with Oregon for over a year and a half plus. And as it's evolved, as it's grown, because we got more information, we are able to be more specific on what we're going to do. And the thing is, there's a whole lot in there she won't touch with a 10-foot pole. And you want to know why? Because she's beholden to a whole bunch of people. Where do you think those millions of dollars come from? And they all have little hooks in them too, right? So that's what you're talking about. But the 2030 agenda, if you, Angela, if you support Christine Drazen, and you know she supports the Oregon-China Council and the Agenda 2030, then as far as I'm concerned, you're a traitor, number one. Now, if you want to go move to China, knock yourself out. We won't miss you. But if you're going to be in support of that type of stuff, don't do that. No. You definitely don't want to do that. Oh, yeah. Cat litter in bathrooms, for crying out loud, just so that for the students identify as cats and dogs. The idiocy, the division, the violation of the family unit. I'm sorry, but Christine Drazen is still part of that. Maybe not to the extreme, say, as Tina Kotek, but she still is. You don't get a free pass. Oh, well, they're mostly for the Second Amendment. Mostly? No. It's all or nothing. We have this thing called the Constitution. It's either all of it or none of it. And if anybody subscribes to the none of it, well, you know what? Then you need to go to the communist country of your choice, right? I hear Russia's looking for soldiers. Yeah, maybe you ought to go there. Yeah, that'd be wonderful. We won't miss you. So, really? Agenda 2030. Go look it up. Matter of fact, send me your email. Your email, Angela, and I'll send you some information. You can review it. You can read it. You can learn it, understand it. And then you're going to be like, oh, shoot, I'm not even going to vote for Christine Drazen or Betsy Johnson or Tina Kotek. You know, this Romero guy actually knows something about what he's talking about. Now the question is, can you trust me to do what I say I'm going to do? See, one of my goals to be as the governor, I want to be able to make sure that I'm doing such a great job on behalf of the people that no matter where I go in Oregon, even by myself, I'm totally safe. Can Kate Brown do that? Do you think Betsy Johnson, Tina Kotek, and Christine Drazen, in the course of not doing the right things, do you think they're going to be as secure running around Oregon that way? No, they're going to have security out the wazoo if they go out. And then there's going to come a point when their approval rating or whatever is going to drop. Tina Kotek's already starting out with a single digit. Okay. Yeah, she gets to inherit fully Kate Brown's deal. What about Betsy Johnson? I'm sorry, but she's right in there too. She might get double-digit approval rating. And Christine, it's like been sitting on the bench. And here in the Super Bowl, sitting on the bench is just not going to work. if you've not been fighting the fight for real, election fraud. I've been dealing with that personally for the last 2 cycles. And what's interesting, and just let you know, is that all the information we were generating, all the stuff back from the Secretary of State, Elections Division, everything, we were sending that all to all the everybody in the legislature, Democrats and Republicans. And guess how many replies we got back? Even when we won, right? Goose egg, 0. So is the legislature, even my immediate representatives, are they really concerned about me as a voter or being violated, have my civil rights violated by the Secretary of State Elections Division's Deputy Director, Luke LaBante? No. Wow. Should they be representing any of us? No. And that includes Christine Drazan. See. No, I just know too much about. See, here's the thing, guys. See, I didn't really know Christine Drazan at all. A year ago, not much about her at all. I knew she was ineffective as a leader in the Republican Party in the legislature, and I knew the things that she should do. Of course, she's not going to talk to me because, to be honest, she doesn't have the balls to do what she needs to do. Sorry, and that's not actually a male thing. It's just having the backbone, the shoulders to do what she needed to do because she's not a leader. Okay, and then she comes into the governor's race way late, by the way. By the way, just to let you know, Angela, I got into the race for governor way early for a reason, okay? And that was to expose all the garbage that was coming in behind me. They couldn't dare let me get a year run on them before they finally threw their hat in the ring in January. They couldn't do that. So they jumped into the race. And when they did, it let me go to work and find out everything I needed to know about all these people. From Stan Pulliam and the whole swingers thing, all of it. Oh my God. You would not believe the amount of people that know all this stuff about all these people. And they are dying to get it into the light. And as long as they have actual evidence and proof, verification of it, hey, we make sure the truth sees the light of day. That is only fair, especially when you have representatives who are not representing themselves correctly and fairly to the public, right? Okay. So that's when we started diving into Christine. And the nice thing that I'm really appreciative of the fact is that with Christine and Betsy Johnson, Tina Kotek, all I had to do is go to their voting record, their work history, their actual performance. And you know what? They all failed. They did. So maybe you need to learn something more about your candidate, because I think you're being kind of delusional. You're probably on their campaign. You may be getting paid for all I know. By the way, there is no payroll in my campaign. None. Not at all. It's also why it's a whole lot cheaper than everybody else's. Let's see. No, let's put it this way. I have I have I have a fear of the wrong people being in office to further destroy Oregon and let China do it. That's a real legitimate fear. And Drazan is not going to help with that. She's going to be part of the problem. And therefore, if she does become governor, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to do a recall 6 months after she's in office. Yeah. Why? Whether it's her or Betsy or Tina Kotek, that's what needs to happen. Because see, Oregon voters need to be heard. And right now they're not. They are not fixing our fraudulent elections. They're not fixing the whole ballot tallying stuff. They're not even addressing it. And your candidate won't even acknowledge that stuff. That tells me that she's either stupid or part of the problem. So which is it? I'll tell you, either one is not a good answer. Either one doesn't make her worthy to run for governor. But the same thing applies to Betsy Johnson and Tina Kotek. So don't worry. She has other pals to hang out with. Yeah, I did see there's a new poll out today. Oh gosh. I want to say she had like 32% of the poll. And I think Tina Kotek had 30 or 31. Okay. So of all the voters they called, They didn't even ask. They didn't even put Betsy Johnson's numbers in there. That's interesting to me. They should have, but they didn't. So if those two are running 32 and 31%, what does that leave? Okay, it's math, simple math, guys. It leaves like 37%. 37%. Still haven't decided. Wow. Well, interesting. I think that 37% can definitely write me in. I also think the people that were kind of pushed to make a decision between Kotek and the Johnson and Drazen, if they know me and they know they can write me in, they will do that. Oh, and by the way, Angela, if I was told, I had people calling me and say, you need to drop out of this race completely. You need to just drop out. You're not even going to get 1% of the vote. Just drop out. Just drop out. I'm like, oh, you think I'm only going to get 1% of the vote? Wow. Then why are you worried about me? They're like, what? I said, you and a dozen other people connected in the Republican Party have been beating down my door on my phone to try to convince me to drop out of the race. And they all say the same thing. Well, you're only going to get 1% or less than 1% of the vote, so it's not really going to matter. If it didn't matter, then why are you even wasting my time in this phone call? Because they know it matters. If Oregonians have a choice, granted, they got to make more of a conscious effort in writing a name on a ballot. But what you're saying, Angela, is that they're not smart enough to do that. And I say they are. Yeah. But yes, Angelina, she, according to the most recent Oregonian paid for, unbiased, unpartisan poll, yes, not my very much. It's literally still a toss up. But like I said, nowhere in those polls are they taking me into account. So there you go. Trump by a landslide voter fraud in Oregon is a major problem. Fact. Sherry Langley, you are correct. It is. And the fact that our legislature and our legislators have not taken an active, proactive, vocal role in this, including Christine Drazen. Why should we vote for any of you guys? I'm telling you now, there's only a couple of our legislators I'd ever want to vote for again. And they're not even in my districts. So I can't vote for them. Right? So yeah. So Angela, her comments, I have 22 watchers. What she doesn't realize is that we started an hour late today, and we have a lot of people end up watching later. Granted, I used to be able to hit up to almost 160,000 views on my lives. And that was until Facebook started throttling me down. But now we have Rumble, and we have YouTube, and sometimes we get it on Telegram, which we're still trying to work that bug out. But and also, Angela, you're here. If you guys weren't so concerned about me, why would you even be here throwing your eggs? Curious. Yeah, I know. There's no good answer, Angela. It's all right. If Alicia Murkowski could win as a write-in for Alaska senator, I think you can pull it off in Oregon. Yes, I agree. And just let you know, like Portland. See, I've been in Portland talking to people there, and I give them my contract with Oregon. I'll let them read it. Like, this is great. I would totally support this. I'm like, okay, great. You'll get your chance. And now you're going to have to write me in. And the thing is when you have actual election fraud committed by the Secretary of State's Elections Division office, and I can prove it all, by the way. We have evidence. We have video. It's great. Problem is going into court, it's going to take another 2 months. And then once we get there, it's not going to matter. It's not going to change anything except for to expose those individuals. But there's another way I get to expose them and get them the credit that they are due, which I will do. So that's how we're going to do that. So Angela should vote for Mark. Okay, Mark Thielman, good guy. He's a nice guy. Yeah, pretty well spoken. I don't think he knows all the issues like I do. And as a matter of fact, just to let you know, Angela, for a year, I went up against Mark Thielman and all those people, with the exception of Drazen, in the debates, right? Yeah. And guess who ended up with upwards of 80+% in the straw polls out of all those meetings? I'll give you one guess. Yeah, me. Okay. And think about Mark, the area of expertise that he has. Back in January of last year, I met Mark. I spoke at the Parents' Rights in Education. Suzanne Gallagher and the work that they do is fantastic. I've always supported them and always will. And they invited me to come there and speak on critical race theory. And I was the last speaker right before lunch. And then after at that point, Mark Dillman had not stated he was running for governor. And so, but Stan Pulliam was out already. And so at the end of my little spiel on critical race theory, and it was entertaining and it was kind of fun. And we got that video out there, so you can go take a look at it. What happens is that as I'm going down the stairs, coming out in the audience for lunch, I get kind of rushed by a group of people because they got my cards finally. And they said, "You're running for governor." Because they'd already seen Stan Pulliam, like, "Oh, we're going to vote for Stan. Stan's the man." And then they found out after I spoke on CRT and saw my card and read the back of it, they're like, "Oh my God, you have our vote." I'm like, wow. It only took me talking about CRT and you get my business card? And I've already beat Stan Pulliam? I like this. This is good. But why? I listen to people and I address the real issues. But the best part, I guess, is that also, in a way, all those issues are my issues too. So they just kind of affirm and confirm that. And that's a good thing. So, but Mark, like I said, Mark's a good guy. And I think I have a little problem with him having worked on the cat tax before realizing what it was or how they were going to use it. Again, this is an element of being naive. And this is a problem that Christine Drazan has had in the legislature. You cannot trust these people. But with Mark, the scale's kind of balanced there, and I'll tell you why. Because, see, I like to think Mark's a smart enough guy to know what they were going to do with it. He also knew that it was going to be more taxes to bring money in for education in schools. Here in Oregon, we're like in the top 3, I think, for cost of education per child in the state. And they get a crappy education, mostly. Okay? I grew up in Prineville. I got a public education right here in Oregon. It served me well. But today's, no, not so much. So with Mark, the scale is really kind of balanced. It's like, man, Mark, you go either way, man. Don't step out of bounds. Don't do anything stupid. I'll leave that at that. But I did tell Mark, I said, when I become governor, I have this idea about stripping the superintendent of school title off of the governor. But it may be a governor appointed type position. And I would definitely want to consider putting his name on that short list. And I shared that with him because I liked what he had to say. I liked what he was doing. And I'd heard other things about him. That was my first chance to meet him. So, and really that still stands. However, I also know more about Mark than is out there. And again, information gravitates to me. And that's most unfortunate for anybody in opposition, or they create themselves to be that opposition. Let's see. And as far as helping your state, listen, Angela, I have no doubt that in your heart, you want things better for the state. And what I'm just trying to tell you is this. Drazan's not going to do it. Johnson's not going to do it. Kotek's not going to do it. Donna Smith's not going to do it. Go read the contract with Oregon. Get my current copy. Send me an email address. I'll just send you the documents. You can read on your leisure, and then you make an educated determination. Just a thought. That's right, Amanda. The 3 candidates are not fully supporting the Second Amendment. It's all of it or none of it. Shall not be infringed. Constitutional carry. Do you have to register weapons? No. Are there limitations on how many bullets your gun can carry? No. That's the Second Amendment. They've been whittling away and chipping away at our First and Second Amendments. That is their deal. That is their goal. They are slow. They are patient. OHA was a major step in pushing this state into socialism. Now, as Christine Drazan knows full well, they've been talking in secret about the new free healthcare for all Oregonians. Yeah, with up to a 15% increase on your income tax. Yeah, and they say it'll be free for everybody. It's not free. It costs somebody, and it might be you and you and you and you and all of you, even you, Angela. Yeah, you're not gonna get a free pass there. Let's see. Okay. So let's see. James has that's what's happened with Biden. All these morons who were actually benefiting with Trump in office, they didn't like him, so they voted for Biden. Now most of them are regretting their choice. Yes, and what's funny is way back when Newt Gingrich came up with the contract with America, first 100 days of his Congress, boy, they kicked butt. They did the work of the people for the people. Yes, it was awesome. It was amazing. And then John Boehner and his cronies all got together and said, "Okay, we got to get rid of this guy. He's killed off all our earmarks. We can't get any money. We got to get rid of him." So they filed like 101 ethics violations against Newt Gingrich. And him being the person he was, well, he's the Speaker of the House. He said, "Well, I don't want to give any bad press or whatever for the Republican Party, so I'm just going to resign as requested, and I'll deal with it." So he did this. He should never have done that. I would never have done that. He fought every one of those, and every one of those things was disproved. All of it was meant to just unseat him, to get him out. If you can't stand the heat, you shouldn't even be in the kitchen, right? Well, I can handle the heat. I'm Cajun too, so. Okay, as far as voting for something to be temporary, it still violates what we need to do for this state. Angela, do you understand that the only coal-fired plant we had for electricity, right? And that was a loss of over 15% of our guaranteed electrical power in the state. Not only did they shut it down, and it was producing less emissions than the stockyard down the road. It was clean as all get out. It was nothing but steam coming out of those stacks, and it would dissipate. Couldn't even see it. No cloud. And I know what it's like when you have actual coal being burned and not cleaned and scrubbed and all that. It's just a black sky, okay? Lived in Turkey for 2 years. Tried that out for some time. So they destroyed it because we're going green. We need more windmills. We need more solar panels. We're going to clear off hundreds of acres and thousands of acres of trees so we can put solar panels. And then we're going to have batteries and buildings and all this stuff to store the power. Oh, yeah. And we're going to have to suffer with rolling brown and blackouts because Oregon's power needs will continue to grow, and they're taking away all our guaranteed power. So where was Christine on that? Try to stop it? Expose the truth? I didn't see any of that. Again, Oregon has the ability to be energy independent smartly. Between hydropower, clean burning coal, it works, guys. It's good to go. There's also some nuclear power plant that we could consider in, say, northeastern Oregon, out in the desert. Nothing out there except for government land that stores a bunch of waste. Yeah, that's another issue we have here in Oregon. Also, a bunch of uranium mines. They're still, you can't go walking into them. But we have oil and gas here in Oregon, and we could actually have our own refinery, and we could actually do our own deal, and we could actually provide cheaper gas and fuel for Oregonians, natural gas as well, and potentially even still give them a little kicker at the end of the year. Oh, did I tell you that a couple of other goals we have is not only to eliminate state income tax. Yes, we'll have to go to a sales tax, but we already have it. We have sales tax on a lot of things already. But then we also have this property tax issue. I don't hear Drazen talking against it. 3% property value increase every year, like clockwork, regardless of whether the property is improved in value or not. Yeah. See, this is how they had a limit set on like 5% for property tax, and they couldn't increase that. And then they said, hey, what we could do is we just increase the value 3% every year. So that 5% is still 5%, but it's actually more money because your property value went up. But here's something else that's going on that none of these three ladies are mentioning, Angela. They're trying to kill that cap on your property tax. They're trying to remove that maximum 5%. They were trying to totally remove it, not just increase it or decrease it. No, no, no. They would never decrease it. But they don't, they want to increase it and they want it gone. That way they can increase it that way and they don't have to do that 3% deal. So it's like robbing Peter to pay Paul, but they're still robbing Paul too. Okay? That's just the truth. It's not my opinion. It's the truth. It's the facts. Go ask Drazen about that. Because where does she come out? See, she should be come out swinging. She should be like me in that regard about these issues. Is she? No. Have I actually been in those trenches? What trenches might you be referring to, Angela? I know I've been in more trenches than you have. I don't have the temperament. Oh, the temperament. Wow. You know, Angela, you don't even know me. Not really. And what you need to understand about me is this. I am intelligent. I am educated. I'm experienced with a lot of things in life. I've done some awesome, amazing things. I've done some great things I can't even tell you about. You know, I actually have medals that are classified. And my biggest thing is I am sick and tired of the politicians. So who am I? Am I a politician? No. I'm a project manager. My ambition and goal is just to be a statesman and to do such a great job that no matter where I go, people will be happy to see me. And I want to be able to live here in Oregon the rest of my life, not have to worry about all this garbage that the politicians that we've had have thrust on all of us. Now, you may be okay with that. I'm not sure how old you are. I'd be curious to know that. That would tell me a lot, actually. But temperament? No. See, sometimes as a leader, you got to get intense. Sometimes you got to be inspiring. Sometimes you have to be scary because there's bad people in all this, right? And if those bad people don't think you're willing to step up there and hold them firmly and fully accountable, they're going to keep doing the garbage they're doing. And do you think little mouse is going to frighten them into doing the right thing and playing by the rules? No, it doesn't work. When you're a project manager or even running for office and you have volunteers and you have people that work for you, you have to inspire them. You have to motivate them. You have to help them to see where they're headed. You have to help them to reach their potential. You have to show them that there's a path. And sometimes you have to light the path a little bit for them. Get them going, right? That's what you do. See, as a leader, my job isn't to build followers. See, Drazen, Johnson, Cote, it's all about followers. See, me as a leader, no. I understand my responsibility is to build leaders, to get other people engaged and moving forward. That's not on Drazen's agenda or Johnson or Kotek. They just want you to stay a voter, a loyal follower voter that buys their BS, that doesn't really research or doesn't stay on top of them. And see, to me, I think it's important that we all stay on top of these people every month, to never lose sight of who they are, to not forget who they really are. That's what I think. Green New Deal will cause worldwide famine. I don't think people know how bad it is, or maybe they would rather stay dead, dumb, and blind. Yeah, you know, considering all the food stuff that's being wiped out, guys, it's not pretty. On top of that, with the inflation, the recession, which, by the way, is stagflation, that's happening right now, people are having to be more selective on their groceries. They're shopping to survive even now. Go into Walmart. Go to look at the expensive stuff, the candy and the ice cream and all. Man, it is full. See, normally we buy those things on a whim. Yeah, I can afford that now. Grab that, throw it in the cart. People aren't doing that right now. Go look at a few grocery carts at Walmart and go see what people are buying. And you'll be like, there's just a few things in there. They are not packed full with a second cart in tow. Yeah. Not going to work. See, Angela, I have zero chance. See, according to Angela, but see, here's the good news, guys. What Angela says matters not. I know it actually really does matter. I also know that Oregonians are not stupid. She's also implying that they are the zero. An educated voter base is imperative. We need it. And I'm going to do everything I can to do that. Angela here apparently doesn't want an educated voter base, and she's certainly not going to help them to be educated, especially if it might make them not vote for Drazen. Drazen won with less than 23% of the vote in the primary. Kotek was over, 50, 60% of who came out and voted in the Democrat primary? Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Based on what we know about Democrats and Republicans and voters over time, yeah, let's see. Drazen doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell. Yeah. To be honest, Kotek, they're going to have to cheat for her in a big way. And they're not sure if they can do it with Betsy Johnson in the race. So what's the possibility Betsy drops out or hands over all her votes to Kotek? Maybe, Angela, if you stop and analyze some of the stuff and the possibilities and the potentials, you start to realize that, oh, shoot, man, this could be really bad. Yeah. So then all of a sudden, a write-in candidate is really the right thing to do at this point. It is the ideal point to do it. You may not understand that. That doesn't necessarily make you stupid. It just makes you a little ignorant. You just don't know, you don't understand. That's okay. Ignorance is an excuse. If you don't know something, you don't know it. All right. So unless you're an analyst, expert, data, metrics, stuff like that, I can understand your position. But what I'm saying is that there's a way for you to understand this stuff and see it for what it is that will at some point probably bring a little light into your life, and you see the opportunity that really exists in front of you. And for me, I was accused of being verbally abusive to one of my volunteers, and no, I'm not verbally abusive to anybody. Volunteers don't volunteer if you do that. It's a fundamental rule. The other thing is when you're a leader or you're a project manager in the oil field, you're dealing with big, burly, brawny guys that weld for 12 hours straight and do it in the hot, blazing sun, and they're built like Arnold Schwarzenegger times 2, and how do you inspire those guys to work a couple extra hours or get something done, right? By yelling at them. So here's the thing, whether they're big, strong, burly guys that can handle themselves in a bar fight or somebody who's meek and just has never been in a fight in their life, the fact is you still have to inspire people. You have to motivate them to do the right thing. And right now, we need a whole lot of that. It's what they call leadership. And it's the tough love sometimes, but it has to happen. As far as temperament goes, no. Hey, listen, I can be funny, I can be intense, I can be friendly, I can be a whole lot of things because that's really who I am. And if you knew me, you would know that, but you don't. So, and you're going to keep saying you have zero chance. Yep. Sorry, but you are one individual and that's all. And you'll be one individual of maybe 10% of the vote that you potentially may actually get. Remember that. I warned you. If you were aware of NAVs and what that actually constitutes, you wouldn't be having this discussion. 3 Dems to choose from. We have Paul. Yeah, there you go. We do have 3 Democrats we're choosing from. Let's see. What does he have? Well, Angela, in those polls, they don't even include me. They're not even including Betsy Johnson. So if they publish a poll by the Oregonian that they don't even include Betsy Johnson in the poll, what does that tell you? They're definitely not going to include me. Not yet. But they're going to have to. Because they need to know how much they have to cheat. Okay, say all you want, Angela. Fear? No. Listen, it's not fear. It's facts. It's their actual voting record, which apparently you don't know hardly squat about. If you did actually go learn about it, you'd be like, you probably change your mind. Yeah. But the other thing is this: if you support the Chinese Communist Party, you are out of here. Yeah. And by the way, you know what the penalty is for treason here in this country and in Oregon? Yeah, the death penalty. That's right. So for all those involved, the Chinese Communist, the Oregon China Council, in support of Agenda 2030. are fundamentally guilty of treason. You remember that. Hey, LaDonna, good to see you. Hey, um, yeah, Ron, I'll tell you what, I don't think Betsy's going to call me anytime soon. We're really exposing. Hey, Miss Tammy's in the house. All right. Okay, Angela, listen, you're a JFK Democrat. Come on. There's hope for you. Okay. You've heard people say if JFK was alive today, he'd actually be a Republican. But he'd be a conservative Republican, right? I totally agree with that. I support that. But JFK, I like JFK myself. And he was doing things trying to fight the opposition, and it got him killed. Okay. We all have to fight, all of us. And I understand, and I warn people, don't ever fall in love with a candidate. Don't do that. Not me, not anybody. Because as soon as you do, your judgment fails you. You stop looking at things objectively. And you gotta protect against that. It's like when I'm talking to people that are running for office, I tell them, listen, you got to fight against those who are going to put you in compromising positions. Okay. Whether it's voting for something or compromising on something, whatever, anything that compromises you gives them leverage over you. And if you're going to be a true representative of the people, you cannot allow that to happen. You have to fight that day in, day out, and you have to expose it as you go. Eventually, they stop trying. Canada does not have anything about supporting the U.S. Constitution, Oregon Constitution. They should not be allowed to run for office. I got to admit, Amanda, that seems it's kind of a common sense thing. But unfortunately, as my grandfather said, if common sense were common, we'd all have it. We're going to start teaching that in school, make that a requirement right along with civics. Betsy's numbers are factored in 18% for Betsy. So 18% for Betsy. And they're trying to talk her up like she's even past Kotek and Drayson. She's spending more money than all of them. Yeah. She has support of Democrats. And actually, they're all getting money from all kinds of the same people, including Big Pharma. And again, they're all beholden to those people. I am not. But that's interesting. So in that poll that I saw that just came out with Oregonian, I did not see them citing Betsy's numbers. So I have to go back to that. Stop sabotaging. Listen, just because you're in love with a candidate that you shouldn't be in love with, that's not my problem. It's your problem. Go read her history. Go online. It's there. How do you think I found out about Johnson having been working for the Federal Reserve Bank, right? Yeah, part of her resume. Let's see. Yep. You can insist I'm a non-factor all the way. If I was a non-factor, you wouldn't be here. That's right. And as far as polls go, again, yeah, I'm real reluctant to trust them, but you gotta start from someplace. And for me, what the feedback I get from so many people, everybody I talk to, is they don't know who to vote for. They're not sure which one is the lesser of three evils. Okay, that's where they're at. That's where the average voter is at in Oregon. We may have like the lowest turnout of any governor election that we've ever had. That is a legitimate possibility right now, because that's how frustrated people are. People do not like voting for the lesser of any evil. They don't like being in that situation. And unfortunately, they keep putting them in that situation. And they're getting fed up with it. And that's why the NAV rolls are so high. They're the largest voting bloc in this state. That tells you something, Angela. Pay attention. Listen to the people. I'm glad you find it fascinating. I hope you learned something. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Like I said, Angela, go read my contract. Go read the one that's on the website, romero4oregon.com. Go read it. And that's not even the updated version that has more things on it. I had to hold things back. I didn't want to give all the opposition all my ideas, right? Yeah, go read that. That'll give you a good starting point. But the new one, if you really want the copy of that, which I recommend, send me an email address. I'll just send that to you. No comments. Just just the actual files. And thank you for letting me send them to you. Okay. Um, see. Yep. And when I get into office and you see what I do, there'll be the proof in the pudding. Like I said, my ambition is to make sure that every Oregonian goes, man, we need more people like that in office. Yeah. That's somebody who represents me, who's actually doing the job and protecting our state, protecting our people. Yeah, that's the legacy I want to leave. I'm going to set the bar so high, it's going to be hard for other people to follow up on it. Governor, would you have any pull with the Marion County dog shelter funding? If so, they could use a bigger budget. Interesting. Well, Ladonna, I've not had that question. I guess the first thing I would tell you is that right now they claim we have a balanced budget, right? But then there's the general fund. And the general fund is not part of the balanced budget. The general fund is where they pour all kinds of money in there and then they spick it out to wherever they want. Okay. And that's a whole lot of liberal left-wing garbage that none of us got to vote for. Okay. So I think once we shut off all those spigots and all that extra general fund money is there, that would be a legitimate possibility and a positive thing for, well, everybody. I think that would benefit everybody regardless of your party. Susan Geller is very involved with talking on woke supremacy in the schools and school choice. Awesome, Angela. I am too. And let me tell you what, my first degree is in workforce education and development. All right. I also have a double major, about 75% of it's complete, in mechanical engineering and mathematics. And then a lifetime of experience in all kinds of industry, including as an investment executive, a business owner, coatings, oil field, project management, materials coordinator. I've done a lot of things in my life. Been delivered Domino's pizza. Oh yeah, done that too. And with education, we need to get back to old school. Old school prepared our kids for life. What they're doing now is preparing them to be burdens on society. They are building them to be socialists. All right. And you must, I'm confident you actually understand that, which is good. And the whole woke supremacy, it's like, if you don't believe us and you're a loser, and kind of like what you're telling me. All right. I have no chance. Well, it's like them telling all the woke crowd telling you don't have no chance, right? Be careful here. So the woke supremacy and the fear that it creates in good teachers, in the students, in the administration. I mean, come on. Mark Thielman's been fighting this stuff nonstop in public. And it's been ugly. And he's had to back off. And news for you, I'm not backing off. It's just not in my nature. Okay? I play rugby, for crying out loud, right? You get onto a rugby field, there's no crying home to mama. You get in there, you do the job, you take care of your guys, you score, you win, you go back to the sidelines when it's over, and you have a nice barbecue and share a beer with the people you just beat up on the field. Yeah. That's how that goes. If we got to play a little rugby in the legislature, I'm ready for that. Patricia says, Paul, have you seen the books in the schools? I'm currently working with FACTS 2.0 Task Force. Awesome. An extension of Lieutenant Mark Robinson's work on indoctrination. These books I've researched are pornography. Yes, they are. I'd love for you to know what's in schools across the country if you don't already know. Actually, Patricia, I do know. I've been painfully aware of this stuff. It's disgusting. I can't believe any school board or librarian would actually support this type of stuff. Now, granted, you know about the stereotype librarians of the past? Ooh, watch out for them. Yeah. Never pick up a librarian. That was like a rule back then, not unless you were looking for some crazy stuff. I didn't know if there's any truth to that stereotype, but apparently there may be. So here they are indoctrinating our children. They're violating the parental rights, to be honest. And by the way, the U.S. Supreme Court has already ruled on parental rights and in our favor. And yet our state, our governor, our legislature, including Johnson, Kotek, and Dreesen, have allowed this to propagate itself. They've, in effect, supported it. They've not been outspoken against it. See, the thing about politicians is that they're afraid to speak out about anything that's in their heart. Okay. I'm not a politician. If it's in my heart, it's in my head, everything jives, boom, I'm in your face. That's how it's going to be. They may not like that, but I'm not here to make friends with the enemy. I'm not here to reach across the aisle and compromise myself or Oregon for that matter, right? No, I'm here to fight for Oregon. I'm here to fight for Oregonians. And I'm here to do it in the boundaries of the Constitution. And as long as I stay in those boundaries, I'm gold. And that's where it's going to be. But man, I'm glad to know that about you, Patricia. You and I need to talk some more. We really do. I know you got my number. Well, I'm happy to hear that she's not for free health care, but I haven't heard her speak out against these backroom deals they've been working for the last year plus, actually since 2019. Yeah, 2019. And don't tell me she doesn't know about it. That's a lie. I'll warn you now. You tell me that will be a lie. Okay. So she knows about it. And where has she spoken out against it? It only recently came out in Oregon Catalyst. I got to admit, Oregon Catalyst does a really good job of reporting the truth to the public, but not enough people read it. Not enough people get their articles, but they're very good. All for closing down any of the fossil fuel sources. Okay. Oh, you're not. Okay, good. Because see, here's the thing. We fossil fuels, we need them. One day, your electric car is going to pull electricity out of the air. I mean, thin air. I'm not joking. It's true. When that happens, you won't need a gigantic battery. So that lithium issue, that's going to go away too. That's going to be a good thing. And that day will come. It's just not here right now. Okay. In the meantime, fossil fuels, can we make engines more economical, where they're burning less? Sure, we can. But the thing I have to warn people about, I talk to the environmentalists all the time. Oh, we got to worry about greenhouse gases. Oh, which ones are you talking about? They said, carbon dioxide. Wait a minute. If we eliminate all the carbon dioxide, then what do the plants breathe? That's why this planet's so green, right? Because of all the CO2 burped out by volcanoes, which volcanoes will spit out way more CO2 than the entire planet of population and animals, right? In a single burst. So no, CO2 is not the problem. Oh, it's water vapor. Yeah, we have to stop the water vapor. Yeah. The stupidity of these people it blows your mind. The whole reason this planet is alive like it is because of our water cycle. And if you eliminate water vapor, you kill the water cycle. And apparently they aren't smart enough to know that. And when I explain it to them, I swear, you watch, it's like there's bombs going off inside their head. And they don't know what to say because they are stupid. They've been fed a line of bull. They bought it hook, line, and sinker, and they go around professing it like they know everything in the world. And nobody else knows anything. And then when you give them the hard reality, sometimes you got to go, boom, put him out of his misery. These environmentalists are not environmentalists. They're opportunists. And no amount of money we spend will change climate change. And as far as temperatures goes, and CO2, I've seen the charts. I've seen the data, the real data. And all their claims that life will end in 10 to 12 years. We're all going to die. We have heard that for the last, 70 to 80 years. They've had some excuse. In 10 years, we're all going to die if we don't do this. Oh, if we don't do this, if we don't do that, if we don't do the other thing. And you know what? None of it that they predicted, not a single thing ever came to pass. Not one. Not even close. Right? So don't buy into that hype, guys. Don't do it. But good. I'm happy, Angela, that you understand that fossil fuels, it's part of our life cycle here. It is. We use them for plastics. Your phone, pretty much everything there is. And the truth is, like the windmills, those aren't helping us. They don't pay for themselves. And they have to replace those big, huge motors every 3 to 4 years. They don't get the 20-year lifespan out of them they claim they do. Oh, that's a lie. The amount of oil and grease in one of those units. You ever see one when it breaks down and it's leaking fluid everywhere? Goes right to the ground. Yeah, that's a problem. And if you're going to put those windmills out in the ocean, not only did you make it harder to maintain them, but now you've also created a situation that if it goes south, the brakes fail. If you've ever seen the videos when those brakes fail, that thing's just cranking off. Oh my gosh, they fly apart. They burst into flames. It's pretty spectacular, but you don't want anybody anywhere near one when it happens. Then all of a sudden, now we have all that oil and grease leaking into the ocean. We don't support that. Sure, right? I mean, come on. There's all these new green ideas they have. They're not green at all. Not yet. The technology isn't such that it's going to allow it to work that way. Financially, it does not pencil out even close. And I saw where they were trying to claim that cow farts had more emissions, more bad emissions than all the exhausts of every vehicle from aircraft down to your motor scooter, right? And it's because, see, they weren't counting the full carbon footprint. They were taking the full carbon footprint of a cow, which means the trucks, livestock trucks, all the stuff involved, everything involved from their syringes for shots and the plastics and whatever, everything about that cow. They took that number, said, oh, look, see, this is way more than all the cars and their exhaust. They didn't think to add all the carbon footprint of what it took to make those vehicles, that aircraft, etc. So they're not comparing apples and apples. But see, they don't do that. They don't compare the truth. It's how they mislead people. It's how they guide people into doing and claiming things that just aren't true. And I run into it all the time, but I can explain it in detail and I can argue with them. And I can be friendly about it. I don't have to be mean. It's kind of funny, to be honest, because especially when all of a sudden you'll watch them and you see all of a sudden that cloud goes, and they're like, shoot. They all of a sudden understand the truth. And it's like, I saw that. Good job. All right. There's hope. There's always hope. Let's see. Yes, the indoctrination that our children have had to undergo is nothing but communist, socialist, Marxist division. Cultural Marxism is what it's called. And fundamentally, it's just about creating division amongst whatever groups for whatever reason. Okay, all the dark-haired guys versus all the light-haired guys. Fight. Yeah, that's all it is. And when they're fighting, that allows the elitists to run the show. You don't get to see how they're stealing your blind. Let's see. Amanda says, when the Great Reset happens and Trump comes back, there's so many crybabies and a lot of anger. You know what? I don't think as many as you think, because they're going to finally get to the point where they realize, okay, yeah, this is way better. They don't want to admit it. They may not admit it, but they will go along with it. You will not hear them crying. The only ones you're going to hear crying are the ones that are truly mental, have other problems. Let's see. Starting a group for Tillamook County, all schools on the coast. I would love to work with you on that. Yeah, let me tell you what. That's awesome. Yeah, Jennifer is Wetstein there. Patricia, she's a real go-getter. She knows her stuff, and she knows lots of people too. So that's always good. Let's see. Jason voted against authorizing the election of the president by popular vote. Well, that's one good thing she did. I mean, we have the way the vote's set up. I still trust the electoral vote process. It is a more fair representation for each block of the population, regardless whether you have the biggest population or the smallest. I understand their argument, but see, they've been cheating for so long. That argument that would work to their favor. That's why they push it. But the other does not work to their favor, and they know that they're about to lose and lose in a big way. So, yes, she voted against issuing illegals driver's license. I know that. And here's the only thing wrong with this, okay? And this isn't really just directed to Trayson, so don't do that. The voters of Oregon overwhelmingly said no to driver's licenses for illegal immigrants, okay? Now, see, if I go to Spain and I'm just there temporarily, I can take my driver's license and go there and apply and take their test to get a temporary driver's license in their country while I'm there so I can go rent cars and all that. No problem. But we're not talking about people visiting for a short time and acknowledging exactly who they are. Okay. We're talking about illegals. They've already committed felonies and crimes just by being in this country illegally. Um, and here in Oregon, the motor voter law, I've had a number of people that are actually legal immigrants and are basically going through the process to become American citizens. They have their driver's license, and then they get a ballot in the mail. And they know that they're not supposed to vote that ballot. But they're like, why am I getting this? I didn't ask for this. It's because of the motor voter deal, right? And that's the only reason that we have it. It's the only reason, okay? And they also think that most of these illegal immigrants are going to vote Democrat. That's the other reason why we have it. But now that they're seeing these illegal immigrants that are coming in that actually know other legal immigrants that are around, they're starting to realize, oh, so when they're voting, they're starting to vote conservative. Now, all of a sudden, wait till that happens in a big way, and then Democrats going to be shutting down illegal immigrants having driver's license and cleaning up the voter rolls. You watch. I'm not saying everything Christine Drazan's done has been bad. No. There are some good things, but here's the thing that she should do in that regard. She should raise the bid. Listen, the voters of Oregon said this, and you, the legislature, changed that. You ignored the people. You did not represent the people. She should be screaming that every day, wherever she goes. Part of the legislature and the individuals there are supposed to be more representative of their people in their area, and they're obviously not. And what we also learned is that the Democrats would come in, they'd have the little powwow off the record, and basically in there'd be a handful of people said, okay, you're voting this way on this. These are the things. Here's how you're voting. Do it now. Go. That's not representative government. That's a handful of tyrants deciding everything. And you can't tell me Christine Drazan and every Republican didn't know what was going on. They knew what was going on. What have they done about it? What have they said publicly about it? If you say nothing, you do nothing. I got news for you. As a representative of the people, you are now complicit. All right? You either step up, speak out, or you go home. We don't need any more naive people in our legislature. We need fighters. We need people to go in there intelligently, defend, fight, protect the people and what the people want within the boundaries of the Constitution. It is not hard. The only thing that makes it hard is when people compromise themselves. And unfortunately for Christine Drazan, she's compromised. Let's see. Oh, by the way, okay, this last cycle, the Democrats, the ones that have been told what to do, and the fact that came out public, all those Democrats went, I'm not going to run anymore, and ran home. That's true. That is true. And with the Republicans and more people stepping up to run, that's been good. But I have not seen the Republican Party make a serious, honest effort at facilitating that. Where are they actually screening the people to find out? You know, in a way, it's almost unfair because to me, I've met so many people that should run for office, should be on the school board, city council, the legislature. These are good people, smart, educated people, should be involved, but they choose not to because they don't want to deal with all the garbage. But you know what? Sometimes you got to get in there and you got to get in the fight, right? And I appreciate anybody that does that. I do not appreciate if they do it as a politician. That's where they fail with me. And in that regard, Christine Drazan, Betsy Johnson, Tina Kotek, and a long list of other legislators, they've earned that with me. So, and that's what they've earned. That's who they are. They're violating the public trust when they compromise. You fight tooth and nail to the end. You lose, you lose. You win for the people. Let's see. And Drazan really wasn't the clear winner in that primary. Bob Tiernan, yeah, no, he like I said, we have manipulation in primaries as well as general elections. So what's to say they didn't manipulate that five? Let's see, actually five, only about 3.5%. Yeah. So I think with Drazen, Tiernan I think had 19%. Drazen had 22 point something. So we're talking about 3% difference. And by the way, in case you didn't get that episode, Angela, the current Dominion systems, which we have, ESNS is included in that, along with Smartmatic software cores for Clear Ballot and Heart Verity, the Heart. So, in fact, they can cheat up to 5%, is what they say. It's actually more than that. So that's all they have to do. Yeah. They didn't want Bob Tiernan in there. Oh, heck no. Bob would actually have a good shot at it, but it has to do with the fact that when he was a legislator, he did a great job. He really did. So if I was Christine Drazen, I would go back to his record, his history, and go, yeah, I don't really look like that, do I? Darn. Well, next time. Let's see. Like I said, guys, it's almost a three-way toss-up, depending on how they cheat. But with, like I said, they're going to try to cheat for Kotek. That's who they want to run the state. She's the one that's in like Flynn with everything in a big way, especially Kate Brown. But you already know that. Well, one thing is this guy, Angela, and I do appreciate you, Angela, being here because you have some good questions, and we really, that's what the Q&A Wednesday is about. It's about, there's no holds barred here. Okay, I'm not going to silence you or send you through the airlock or nothing like that. You bring up some serious issues, and I can address those issues. So it's, but you as a voter, not a Drazen fan or nothing like that, just you as a voter, I like to think that you want to know everything you can know about a candidate, the truth about the candidate. And then when you put them all on the scale, you go, wow, okay, this is the obvious choice for me. And leave the personal stuff behind. Okay. I mean, I had one place I went to work for. Oh my gosh, that manager treated me like shit. Oh my God, it was bad. It was so bad. And I didn't understand why. Man, I was doing great. I was outperforming everybody. But man, she was on me nonstop to the point that the owner was like, pulled her aside and said, "What's going on?" I just don't like it. Okay. Well, you need to chill out a little bit. So then what happens? She ends up going to a Pizza Hut that my now ex-wife worked at, and she was having a rough day. And she was talking to my wife, and she was spilling her guts, and she was telling about this guy that works for her, and my wife knew who she was, but she didn't know my wife. And so she's spilling her guts, and man, this guy, he reminds me of this boyfriend that dumped me in high school, and da 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 da. Wow. How many people do you think have decided not to like you because you reminded them of somebody in their history that jilted them, stole money from them, whatever? Okay, beat you up, stole your girlfriend, whatever it is, and you didn't like them because of something that had nothing to do with them. Oh, it happens way more than you think. And we're probably all a little bit guilty of that. But for me, because of that experience, man, I do not. You know what? You look just like this guy I knew. That's as good as it's going to get, because I'm not going to take whatever that person did and label you it, good or bad. I hope for the good, but I won't label it the bad. But this is important too. You got to get to know people. It's only fair. That's all. And all I ask for is fair. That's all I ask for. And thank you, Jesus. That's right too. Well, logical, strategic. Well, so am I, and I've been fighting this fight way longer than she is. Here's the thing. See, nobody's been able to attack me on the issues. Okay. My contract with Oregon spells it out in broad daylight, and the opposition, they don't even want to touch it. They will never do that because they're politicians. All right. They're already compromised. They're beholden to somebody else, not you, the voter. That's the reality. It's just the truth. Now, if I had my way about it, that would never have happened so that they wouldn't be compromised. But that's out of my control. So for me, all I can do is control myself and how I'm compromised or how I get leveraged. And for me, I got plans for all of that, how I'm going to deal with it when it happens, because I know it's going to happen. I know I'm going to get pressured. I know I'm going to get taken into a CIA office at some point as governor, and they're going to try to tell me what's what. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. We need people that can stand their ground intellectually, physically, emotionally. These are all important things in a leader. There are people that you would follow to the gates of hell. Hell, you get in front of them. And there are people you wouldn't follow to the 7-Eleven. Think about that. But until you know them, until you really know them, only then do you get to pass any kind of judgment. And Angela, you need to know me better. Let's see. Yeah, and the thing about common sense, there's a lot of contrarian logic that goes into it. See, I used to be a code breaker, right? Okay, so it's the ability to see the forest for the trees. And oftentimes in the course of some of the analysis I would do in my life and everything is I would come to a conclusion. I go, oh, yeah, we should do this. And then the bosses look at me and go, how did you come up with that? And then I have to go to the freaking whiteboard and draw it out where I started, where I ended, and how I got there. And they're all like, how did you see that? How did you figure that out? Brain took over and did what needed to do. It's just how I see things. So that gives me a huge advantage over a lot of people. Fortunately, Angela, I use it for good. I like being a good guy. Always have. I am with the Defense Investigative Service. When they did my clearance, they said, the last Boy Scout. They couldn't believe I had such a clean record when they did my background check. My security clearance went fast. They even went back and talked to my first grade teacher, for crying out loud. Man, who does that? Yeah. So let's see. Dollar Hide. Hey, Benton. Good to see you. So what is the news? I heard that the old House Speaker Kaylee posted something big is going to happen in D.C. on October 5th. Do you know anything about it? I heard there's supposed to be big things happening on the 24th of September. There's some things that happened, yeah, but nothing quite to what I would call big things. And if Kaylee is actually posting something, wow. I hope and pray that we have amazing things happen. This country deserves it. This country needs it. And I want to see all the bad people. I want to see the evil people that are in this state of Oregon that are actually in office. See what happens to the point that they themselves immediately resign and run. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I want to see. Because I'm telling you right now, in our state, in the government agencies, offices, what have you, you're going to see a lot of people leaving little fire footprints out of the state, especially when I become governor. You wait to see just how many resignations there's going to be. Then they'll all be trying to anticipate when the jig is up for them. What else we got over here? Hey, Shauna. Shauna and Tim, they've been responsible for getting about 100 write-in Paul Romero signs all over Coos County, and I thank them so much for what they're doing. I have them. They're doing that in Coos County. Some of those are making their way outside of the county as well. Then there's Loma Wharton in Lake County. And then we also have Tammy and Bob Mahaffey in Douglas County doing some stuff for us. And I really thank you all for what you're doing. We just got to keep it going and get some more counties covered as well. We're still working on businesses. Businesses should be all over me and the contract with Oregon. They should be like, yes, okay, how can I help? Okay, go buy a bunch of signs and get them posted all over throughout your county. Go. Here's the information. Go. Make it happen. That's where we're at with that. Stand in the corners that you remember. Forgot our signs. Yep. It's our responsibility to change the way. One thing I love is that, Angela, I've had a very grassroots campaign. Okay. It involves people and they're all volunteers. Everybody's a volunteer. And we've run a very tight campaign on a very small budget. Most would laugh at it. But it's not about how much money you have. It's a matter of getting the message out. And people like yourself and everybody else here, that's what it takes. It takes people. And I just ask people to help get that message out. And when we expose them to the metrics, the data we have, the contract with Oregon, these are convincing things. And then when they come on board, like our Q&A Wednesdays, I've been doing this for getting close to almost 2 years now. 2 years. You answer enough questions, you're not afraid of any question. That's how I am. And by the way, pay close attention to the most recent debate they just did a couple days ago. My spliced in responses will also be in a video we'll put out on Rockfin and post it everywhere. So check it out. Ain't gonna hurt you. If you're into logic and reasoning and everything, then that's something you should consider. Let's see. Southern Oregon has a lot more rhinos than we think. Oh, wow. Josephine County Commissioner Herman B. is endorsing. Yeah, let me tell you what. Herman made a big mistake, but he exposed himself. Listen, guys, this is what these politicians do. They end up in a situation when they're basically forced to make a decision. You either get on board with the good old boys club or an old Herman folded. Way to go, Herman. Good job. It's embarrassing. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Amanda. I understand. It's frustrating. Hey, Larry. Hey, go get your beauty sleep. We'll talk to you later. We're at 2 hours. Son of a gun. I'm sorry for this went so long, but like I said, we're trying to cover all the ground. Taking on the porn in North Clackamas School District, a lawyer is currently forming a criminal report. Angela, absolutely. And my thing is this, is that parents have every right to say, listen, this school is exposing my children to pornography. Law enforcement, do something about it. Oh, well, we can't because, no. Yeah, you can. Supreme Court already ruled parental rights. Oregon law violates those parental rights and the ruling of the Supreme Court. Get on it. It matters who you vote for, people. Constitutional sheriffs that will actually stand their ground. County commissioners that will not fall into the sustainable development, that they are somehow representatives of the governor and secretary of state. County commissioners are elected by you and me. They represent us. They work for us. We put them in office. We can take them out of office. The secretary of state did not. Remember that. If you're a county commissioner, you better pull your head out. You are not beholden to them. You are beholden to us. And just because you want to sell out for a couple $1 million here and there, you know what? You just need to scream loud enough to get them all the wrong attention. Don't make them famous, make them infamous. Get the truth out on the table. Throw some sunlight on it. But, oh, that's right. I forgot. There's an awful lot of county commissioners that are so fully compromised and leveraged. If they were to be found out, they would literally have to leave the state. Yeah, way more of those than you think. But there's also some really good ones too. Kurt Scholl is one of those people, by the way. All I can say, man, is from your keyboard to God's ears. Let's make it happen. But yeah, we all need to actively engage this whole school district porn garbage. It should never have been there or considered. And it's pure indoctrination. And something else, guys. Everybody needs to know this. Am I anti-gay? No. Listen, your choice, what you do is your business. Okay? It's protected. We have this thing called the Constitution, and it applies equally to us all. The problem is this. What I learned is that the LGBTQ and the people that conform to that group only represent a small part of the actual people that qualify to be even in that group. Okay? And what I'm finding out is that gays, lesbians, and bis, they're not really supportive of the whole trans and the child indoctrination and the library hour and all that. They really are like, no. But they don't speak loud enough. Okay? Because they're afraid. Yeah, they're afraid. They're literally being attacked from within. But like I said, most of the people that qualify to be in that group do not support it. They do not support the LGBTQ whatever manifesto. If you ever read that, oh my God, you know, these are crimes being committed, and there's got to be real accountability. And as long as you have a claimed bisexual governor like Kate Brown, right, we're going to get nowhere with this. You know, I had to go online and answer a bunch of questions about something for a job. It's like just to be registered, right? Okay. But the questions they were asking, I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. What are you asking me this for? Really? You have to actually ask me what my sex was at birth and where I consider myself now? No. That is wasted ink, wasted paper, wasted time, wasted everything. Stuff's got to end, guys. We have to get back. We have to get off the crazy train. And when you have Ozzy Osbourne saying that America's getting a little too crazy for him, so he's moving back to UK. Yeah. And that guy invented the crazy train, right? But parents have to get involved. They got to scream at the top of their lungs, everybody all at once. And you have to expose the people that are involved in this indoctrination. They can't handle the pressure. They pile on. There'll be a whole bunch of them piling on you. Now, I've experienced this. But as soon as you start picking them apart, they collapse. It's like punching the bully square in the nose in front of his entire gang, and he goes down into the dirt. And then you watch the gang turn to vapor. Good metaphor. It's the truth. Yes. Let's see. Give you a big old truck or horse. Stupid is as stupid does. Man, I'll tell you what. My grandfather, whenever somebody was about to do something really stupid and it's outside of his purview, he just, it could be somebody working on a grocery store across the street doing something. He'd be like, tap me and look at this. If common sense were common, we'd all have it. Watch this. You know, and you watch, go, oh, note to self, don't do that. Right? Yet there's still people that still touch hot stoves. I guess maybe some people need refresher courses, right? So let's see. Jennifer says, flyer to an event for Drazen, Terry Emmert. Oh, Terry Emmert hosting and special guest speaker is Governor Chris Christie. $10,000, sponsor 5, supporter 1,000. Yeah, Emmert's a really interesting guy. I met him a couple years back, and he does some amazing engineering stuff. I mean, remarkable stuff. It's almost like kind of like how they built the pyramids, right? This guy moves some of the biggest things just about anywhere with some amazing equipment. As an engineer, you kind of have to respect it. It's just so cool. But yeah, interesting. Control hurricanes with New Green Deal. Someone's taking some good drugs. Yeah, they can't do those things. Prepare yourself physically and spiritually. I'd have to agree. Don't even want to know what is inside those windmills. Oh gosh. Oh, he builds the hydraulic cylinder that goes inside those things. They are huge cylinders that pitches those blades. Yeah, I know that there's a lot of power you can't see in there. And I talked with an expert in Louisiana on wind power, and he said the key is really smaller windmills, not big ones. You'd be better off with a handful of small windmills on your property than a solar panel. Yeah, because see, you can get wind in the evening and at night, right? The best part about those is it's affordable to fix them and repair them and replace them, and then give you all the power you need. So you can literally eliminate solar and eliminate all those gigantic windmills and really be off the grid for yourself. That's legitimate. The science is there to support it. I want to put up windmills in Florida and capture the hurricane wind. You know, the thing about windmills for those areas, I saw a really cool wave action deal, and I have a friend that is an expert at wave action to how to harness wave energy. But basically, it's a big tube, and as waves come rolling in, you know, you've seen like the blowholes, blow spouts. So it creates a pressure, and what happens is that water comes in, it blows out a relief vent, but then as it goes out, then that closes, and it pulls air in through the main turbine, right? And that's what spins that turbine, and that's what creates the power and energy as the wave going out. And it comes back, vents, and then as it's being pulled out and sucks through that big cavern you've created. So there's not really a lot of moving parts. And the part that is important is easily to maintain, get to, won't contaminate the ocean. They work. Okay. So there's a legitimate type of project. But the question then becomes, well, do you really want that littering our seaside? I'm thinking, not really. So, but yeah, there's other things we can do there. Um, let's see. Oh, wow. So it's the people who don't support the governor in Florida. Interesting. But I thought you have to be a citizen and not be a felon. I'm missing something here, I think. But yeah, oh, thanks, man. Good to know, Benton. I know you got some good insight into those things. We need to talk some more. um, Patricia, you're very welcome. I want all of us to be able to fight like me. If you know all this information, you can get out there and spar with the best of them and win, because what you're talking is the truth, not your opinion, not your feelings, just the truth. And when you're dealing with a lot of opposition, it's their feelings and their opinions, and it's like, okay, you ain't gonna win an argument with that. Sorry, no matter how much you cry. Mr. Wilson, hey, you have a good night too, because I need to wrap this up. I'm just trying to get through everything here. Yeah. Oh, and none of the candidates say they will get rid of the COVID-19 crap. There's another problem. Yep. The COVID-19 thing needs to go away. What it's done to injure and hurt people, I can only imagine how many. I don't even know the real numbers for Oregon right now, but I know they've been trying to hide them from us. And the masking, all that has to go away. I have been out shaking hands, hugging people for the last 2 years. Okay? No masks. No freaking hand sanitizer. I've been healthy as a horse. Yeah. Okay? And I've been exposed to all kinds of people with all kinds of colds. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna take over, my natural immunity to things. And the idea that they're gonna force a experimental vaccine on anybody is a fundamental violation of the Nuremberg Code and our basic civil rights and your medical freedom. And anybody imposing on that really should be brought up on charges and spend some time in Tent City in Central Oregon. That's right, where they can help and cut down junipers and help raise the water table. Yeah, that's another idea we got. Hey, let's see, LaDonna Morrison, how can you help Marion County? Where can I get signs? Right now, I got to get the funds to actually get the signs to put out over there in Marion County. So right now, we're literally still trying to pull in funds. When we didn't actually get on the ballot because of the Secretary of State violating state law and the Constitution Party of Oregon recalled leadership, yeah, these guys are pathetic, beyond pathetic. Basically, by not being on the ballot officially, a whole lot of people we had lined up to help fund this campaign to the end, they said, well, you're not on the ballot and write-ins are tough and all the excuses you get. Well, the simple fact is the only reason write-ins are tough is because of people that say that. They don't say it based on knowledge or experience. They just say it because it's what everybody says. And what I'm saying is that Oregon is in a position to do exactly that, to recover and restore itself. And it takes individuals to do that. So that's where we stand. Let's see. All right. DA in Wilmington, North Carolina denied it now, processing legal report as well. So I'm missing who that was. Getting closer to doing a commercial. Yes, actually, I was just talking to Rogue Splice today about that. And the cost for the actual commercials kind of range, depends on time of the day and all that good stuff. But I suspect we're going to be doing most of these things later in the evening, maybe a couple midday. We'll see how it goes. But again, funding, making the commercial, that's the cheapest part we got. That basically is just time. Beyond that, like I said, we got to bring in funds. We got to find small business, the ones we're going to kill the cat tax. The cat tax is going to go away. There's no legitimacy to that at all. Let's see. Signs on the cheap for $100 for $500 delivered in 5 days. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Shauna. You and Tim are just so awesome. Hey, Sean. Let's see. Yeah, hey, that's right. The truth is coming out, guys. My grandfather would say, hey, the horse biscuits fall out of the horse eventually, and there's no stopping it, and there's no putting them back. Yeah, word to the wise. Let's see. That's right. Like I said, we got to get some donations. And by the way, I got a new donation today in from Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. Really appreciate that. And I think those funds will be directed towards signage. Yeah, that'll be for signage. So, all right. So anyway, with that said, I'm going to wrap this up. And I didn't even get to cover some of the other goodies I had. And I want to say something special about the guys that are still in Washington, D.C. being held prisoner from the January 6th event. This should not have happened. It should never have happened. And it should not. These people should all be home at this point. We know that there are real guilty parties that are nowhere near incarcerated. And we know the feds are involved, different agencies, three-letter agencies are involved. They are really the guilty parties. So as a governor, the thing I would do is rally the other governors, and we would remedy this real quick, fast, and in a hurry. So with that said, I want to say God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for being here, and thank Angela for her challenging the status quo. And don't give up. Educate yourself, educate all the people around you. If we all know and understand this stuff, listen, if I didn't have to run for office, I'd be happy with that. I have a lot of other things I can do with my time. Okay. But the fact is, at this point, if I don't do it, I don't know anybody else that's willing to do what I'm doing. I don't know anybody else that's willing to take this type of stand all the way, deal with the slings and arrows and all this other stuff. Fortunately for me in my life career, I've been built for it. So, and it's taken some time for me to not take some things personally because I like people. I genuinely like people. And I like sharing what I know, and I like learning new things. No, I don't know it all. I do know a lot. And I can also work it into fixing problems and things. And for me, really, it's just an opportunity to do exactly that, be that project manager for Oregon and bring us back to a place that we want to be. We can do it. But it takes active involvement of voters. No more complacency, no more, well, it doesn't really affect me, or I don't think it affects me. We have to get people on track and fully engaged. And the youth of Oregon, I got great ideas for them. This what we're going to build is going to help them experience what we got to experience growing up here in Oregon. It was awesome. Now, not so much. All right. Hey, LaDonna, do me a favor. Give me a call. And by the way, my number is public. 558-256-9437. Because why? I believe the voters should be able to communicate with who they're going to vote for. Right? Directly. And I answer as many emails as I can. I talk to people. I do this twice a week for almost 2 years. And yes, believe me. Oh, by the way, Angela, we used to have way more viewers than this. Way more. Yeah, Facebook throttled us down. However, we're seeing a pickup since things have happened last month. So that's a good sign. I think things are going to get fixed and corrected. All right. But anyway, LaDonna, if you want to give me a call, it's kind of late. I got to go. I'm eating a late dinner, by the way. So give me a call tomorrow. I should be up around 9 or so and moving. So give me a call then, or sometime tomorrow afternoon. All right. Anyway, thank you all for your support. Thank you all for sharing the information. Get on the Lions Den and Telegram. We got all kinds of memes and things you can post. Yes, we are taking it to the opposition. This is not a friendly game of checkers. This is 5-dimensional chess. This is something more serious. But what we're fighting for is serious. If we don't fight, we lose and they win. And then in the end, they lose too. So let's fix this. Let's get this train on the right tracks. All right. So good night. Thank you so much. God bless.